Your sensitivity has always felt like a weakness, and today I'm going to teach you how to begin to embrace it. Welcome back, and firstly, if this is the first time that you've ever reached to my channel and you want to learn about being sensitive, emotional health in general, and everything to do with mental and emotional health, then please make sure that you subscribe and you've turned on the notifications so you know each and every time I post a video. So today I'm talking about literally embracing our sensitivity. Now I want to tell you that in the past I felt like my sensitivity was not only a weakness, but that it completely kind of crippled me, and I felt like it was more than a weakness. I felt like it was like a bane on my life, right? And it was one of the factors that drove me down the route of addiction and eventually wanting to take my own life, right? And today I can tell you that without question, my sensitivity is my absolute superpower, okay? And it is at the heart of me being able to do some of the things that I have the opportunity to do in my life today, right? So that's really important for me to stress that I'm not, I'm talking about something that I've actually done. And so a lot of people are often asking me, how do we start to embrace our sensitivity? So I've been doing much more thinking around this and trying to kind of make sure that I can give you something tangible to start. So today I'm going to talk about how you begin to really start to embrace it. Like literally, where do you start? Okay. So the first thing you have to recognize and you have to accept is that your current belief system around your sensitivity is wrong. Okay, you somewhere in you believe that it's a weakness. You feel like it's something that you need to push back on. It's something that you need to change. It's a part of you that you need to work on in order to become stronger. Forget that narrative and accept that everything that you've believed about your sensitivity up until this point, everything is wrong. Okay, once you accept that, you need to start to understand where that came from. Okay, so where did your current belief system around your sensitivity come from? The way that you do that is when you're starting to feel like you're overwhelmed, when that sensitivity is being tested in you, I want you to start to turn inwards and listen to the voice in your head and what's it saying. And currently, if you're watching this video because you're somebody that struggles with your sensitivity, you will start to recognize, I can almost guarantee you, that that voice in your head is saying, oh, here we go again, you're so weak, this is so stupid, why are you so weak, you need to get over this. You'll be saying things about your age, I'm X amount of age now, I should be over this, right? Listen to that, right? And start to listen to it without judgment, okay? So just listen to it coming in your head and listen to that part of yourself that's telling you those things, right? Get to know it and get to recognize just how negative that thought process is and how much it's kicking back against that sensitivity, right? Once you've noticed that, you need to search for where that come from, right? Because that's not your voice, or it is your voice, but you've been taught that narrative. So where did that narrative come from? The best way to do this is start to think back through your life to the first person that told you these things about your sensitivity. Now, it might have been a teacher, it might have been friends, it might have been a family member, and it probably, more than likely, was your one of or both of, or if you only had one, your parent, okay? Now, this isn't about saying the teachers that said it or your parents that said it or your friends that said it are bad people or wrong. It isn't, right? They've learned the same narrative that we're now struggling with, okay? So this isn't about like blaming everything on our parents. It's just understanding where that narrative comes from. So that narrative of, you need to toughen up, you need to be stronger, right? You can now start to visualize and think, I remember being said that to when I was younger, okay? Now, ask yourself, when you were younger, did that narrative work? And listen, the answer is going to be no. Yeah. When people said you need to be tougher, it just made you sort of push it down, and you buried it even more, right? And you come away from your authenticity. So that narrative didn't work now. And if you're struggling to recognize that, and a good way of doing it is think about someone you love, particularly if you're in a stage of life where you've got children. Think about your child, and if they were struggling with their sensitivity, right, feeling the same way that you were, do you think telling them to toughen up and stop being so sensitive, oh, there we go, would be beneficial to them? Because I guarantee the answer is no. Okay, so once we start to realize that this narrative's come from somewhere, and we start to realize where it originated from, then we move into this overriding stage, and we start to think what questions or what narrative would have helped when I was a child. And look, speaking of myself, it would have been, okay, Joshua, you seem like you're really struggling. You're overwhelmed, right? You seem to have got to this state of overwhelm quickly. What do you need? I know for me, one of my big learnings is that I like people until I don't like them. And once I've reached my limit of being around them, I feel overwhelmed and I hate people and I need to get away from them. Now, the narrative around me used to be, I'm a terrible person. Why am I like this? Da-da. Now I just recognize I get overwhelmed when I'm around a lot of people. And after that, I need to be on my own for a bit. Nothing wrong with that. That's recognizing my need and getting what I need. Okay, I recognize that sometimes I become overwhelmed and emotionally, even like right down to when I'm watching a film that's a bit too intense. I say, cool, this is a bit intense for me. And I just communicate. Whoever I'm watching it with, I can communicate. Cool, this is a bit much for me. Yeah. No problem with that. There's nothing wrong with that. We're just taught that maybe there's something wrong with that, and that narrative in our head tells us there's something wrong with it. We start to recognize that it's only a weakness because we've been telling ourselves for so long it's a weakness. We want to start to override that narrative, recognize where our sensitivity does create struggle, and then make sure that we can get exactly what we need for that struggle and it's no longer a weakness. Then we get to enjoy the good parts. Look, if you had bad eyesight, if you wore glasses, your bad eyesight it doesn't stop you from being able to see. If you couldn't hear very well and you wore a hearing aid, then you're still able to hear. It doesn't stop you hearing. Now, of course, we have the extreme versions of these where people are so blind that glasses can't help them. I don't believe anybody, there's a very, very small percentage that are so sensitive that they can't do anything. If you've reached this stage of your life and you've managed to achieve things in spite of your sensitivity, then you're not too sensitive. Okay? So there's a way of overriding it, and it's that narrative in our head that causes the problem. Hope this has been beneficial. If it has, please make sure that you've liked it, and I will see you next time.